Today, Circle shares rise after the stablecoin issuer reported a more than 50% jump in revenue. Do Kwon heads to court to plead guilty to conspiracy and fraud charges. And eToro CEO Yoni Assia discusses how the retail trading platform performed in Q2 following the release of the company's earnings results. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. Digital currencies mixed this morning after we got fresh economic data showing inflation rose less than expected in July amid tariff worries. At noon Eastern, Bitcoin dipped slightly below the $120,000 mark it reclaimed yesterday. Ether was in the green, though, rising to $4,468 and inching closer to its all-time high above $4,800 reached back in 2021. Solana Sol token also in the green, rising to $181. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Do Kwon, the founder of the infamous Terra USD stablecoin, is pleading guilty to federal fraud charges. According to court filings, Do Kwon changed his plea to guilty on 2 of the 9 charges brought forth by prosecutors: wire fraud and conspiracy to defraud. Do Kwon, of course, spent several weeks on the run in the wake of Terra Luna's collapse before he was arrested in Montenegro with falsified documents. After a months-long extradition battle between his home nation of South Korea and the United States, he was sent to America to face those federal charges. Next, blockchain infrastructure firm Paxos is seeking a national trust bank charter. The company announced yesterday that it filed an application to convert its trust charter with the New York Department of Financial Services into a federal charter under the supervision of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. The company's CEO said in the announcement that the conversion would help build on the company's commitment to the highest standards of safety and transparency. The push by Paxos to be federally regulated comes amid the embrace of crypto by Washington and follows Ripple, which filed an application for a national bank charter back in July. A few days before, the issuer of the USDC stablecoin Circle also submitted a bank charter application to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. And speaking of Circle, shares of the company jumping earlier today after the stablecoin issuer reported a 53% jump in revenue in its first earnings as a public company. Circle saw quarterly revenue rise to $658 million from $430 million a year ago. That being said, the company still reported a second quarter net loss, but Circle said charges related to its debut on the NYSE contributed to the $482 million shortfall. Circle also revealing that circulation of USDC grew 90% from a year ago. CEO Jeremy Allaire joined Squawk Box this morning after the earnings drop to talk about the growth of the Circle ecosystem.
If you zoom out and look at what analysts are saying, not just about Circle, but about the amount of stablecoin money that's going to grow. You know, the CAGRs range from 25% to 90%, so an average CAGR is like 60%. We're happy to take the lower end range of that to say, hey, if we could grow 40% a year, that would be great.
As of around noon, Circle shares were up around 5% and 446% higher since its June IPO. And sticking with crypto company earnings, eToro reported Q2 results this morning, topping Wall Street's expectations. Focusing on digital assets, the company's net contribution from crypto grew 34% year over year, according to eToro's CFO. Now, despite those positive results, eToro shares dropped 8% as of around noon. I spoke with the retail trading platform CEO Yoni Assia this afternoon about the Q2 results and what investors can expect from the company as it relates to its crypto offerings. So thanks to a surge in retail trading activity for both stocks and crypto, eToro reported strong results in Q2, your firm's first full quarter as a public company. Now, you noted in your earnings call this morning that you are very pleased with the results, and you pointed out that eToro has been a, quote, pioneer in the crypto space since 2011 because of your passion for blockchain technology. Now, focusing on the crypto elements in your earnings, your CFO noted that the company's net contribution from crypto grew 34% year over year to $27 million and was largely driven by higher invested amount per trade, which was partially offset by lower crypto activity. So how would you categorize crypto activity on your platform in Q2, and how did that impact earnings in the quarter?
Sure. So first of all, something that we've seen over time is that retail investors on eToro actually get very much engaged every time Bitcoin is at all-time high, and Bitcoin is sort of a proxy to all the altcoins, right? So suddenly where we're seeing crypto and altcoins at all-time high, we're seeing significantly elevated crypto activity. Whether it's Q4 last year, we had a short period during Q2. Then in July, we've seen again elevated crypto activities with Bitcoin's at all-time high, and suddenly treasury companies going beyond Bitcoin to Ethereum and other coins as well. So I think generally between the fact that we're seeing more treasury companies, more retail investment activity, and obviously a very, very positive and a change in the tone of administration, an SEC chairman who's saying that U.S. capital markets are going on-chain, which is mind-blowing hearing that directly from the SEC chairman with Project Crypto. I think everybody's very positive on the tailwind of crypto markets and of digital assets, which is tokenizing real-world assets on top of basically the crypto technology.
And we're going to talk more about eToro's tokenization plans in just a bit. But during this morning's earnings call, your CFO mentioned that the third quarter is actually off to a good start for crypto, noting that through the first month of the quarter, crypto activity has been higher than second quarter levels. What do you attribute that to? Do regulatory advancements for crypto in the U.S. have anything to do with it, given the Genius Act stablecoin regulation bill became law last month?
I think regulatory changes in the U.S. impact crypto prices as a whole. So when everybody sees, and that includes regulators across the world, see the largest capital markets in the world, regulators so positive around crypto and blockchain assets, I think that generally sends a message that crypto is mainstream and going mainstream. Obviously, in July, we've seen two significant and then sort of always go in parallel. But one is Bitcoin reaching all-time high, if I remember correctly, of about $123,000. And then following Bitcoin all-time high, we've seen basically what people call alt season, right? So Ethereum breaking the 4,000 barrier, Solana going over $180. And that what we see then is elevated crypto activity, not only on Bitcoin, but on the other 130 crypto assets on eToro, which all follow in Bitcoin prices, and sometimes their amplitude is even higher than Bitcoin.
Now, you actually pointed to regulatory advancements for crypto in the U.S. during your earnings call this morning, saying that the developments around crypto represents an important milestone and a great tailwind for eToro's U.S. expansion. As a result of these developments, you recently expanded your crypto offerings for U.S. users who now have the ability to trade more than 100 different cryptocurrencies on the platform. You said you'll continue to add more crypto assets and will soon be launching staking as well. What prompted eToro to move into staking specifically now, and when can investors expect to see that option on your platform?
So we've offered staking in the past, and we actually had more crypto assets in the past on the eToro platform. And when we've seen the former administration very negative on crypto, we decided to actually pull back a bit of our crypto strategy in the US and focus only on stocks. Since then, we launched stocks and options trading and many more features on the eToro platform for our U.S. customers, but we took back basically, or decided to be sort of not in the main crypto activity in the U.S. While we've seen sort of negative sentiment coming from regulators in the U.S. I think this administration has said many times that it's very positive of crypto assets, that they want the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world, and with that basically created more clarity to the regulatory environment in crypto in the US, specifically also talking about both staking and liquid staking. So what historically or under the previous administration was vague or unclear whether what's a security, not security, I think these things are getting clearer now, and due to that, we're seeing significant activity, engagement, and scale up in our U.S. presence.
Now, during your earnings call, you pointed to the company's focus on tokenization, noting that eToro first offered tokenized assets back in 2019 following the acquisition of smart contract startup Firmo. And building on that, you said eToro is launching tokenized stocks, something your competitor Robinhood announced as well back in June for EU users. You said during the earnings webcast this morning that eToro believes that blockchain technology will facilitate the, quote, greatest ever transfer of wealth as traditional assets move onto the blockchain. When will eToro launch tokenized US listed stocks exactly? And can you elaborate on the reasoning behind the move?
So I think we all share the same vision in the industry. We've shared this vision since 2012 when I wrote with Vitalik Buterin the Colored Coins white paper mentioning that the benefits of blockchain technology for tokenization of real-world assets is the transferability cross-border 24/7 of those assets, as well as eventually unlocking also liquidity and trading for 24/7. I think over time, similar to what we've seen a bit with Bitcoin and crypto asset trading, we've seen some vague regulatory environment around how do you digitize digital securities, how do you tokenize real-world assets, but actually maintain the rights and offering for consumers. And I think with MiCA now, which is the new regulatory landscape in Europe, with the UK coming up with their new rules, Singapore, where we just launched a license and expected new rules and regulations in the US as well, we're coming into that time where you can actually tokenize real-world assets, securities, starting with stocks, which are, I think, by the way, the most, other than FX, the most liquid markets, but also thinking of private shares, of real estate, of the bond trading market, which is much less sophisticated. When all of that comes to on-chain, and I think it's now inevitable that we are going to see all of those assets coming on-chain, as the US are saying that US capitals are coming on-chain. I think it's really about the companies like eToro, who has always been in that intersection between capital markets and crypto markets, and are now seeing basically the unification of those markets to combine markets. And the benefits are very clear. It's a transferability and eventually a trading 24/7 and using DeFi technologies to unlock more benefits and more innovation in traditional assets on top of crypto assets.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.